Dr. R. Sugurat Samuel is working as professor in physics in SRM University, Chennai. He is also training students for IIT JEE, AIEEE and BITSAT. He has more than 16 years of academic experience both in teaching and research. He has published a book titled The Complete Handbook of Bachelor of Electronic Science Practicals. It is prescribed book in the syllabus for BSc Electronic Science by University of Madras. He has attended and presented papers in several national and international conferences and conducted many training programs and workshops. He has experience in both regular classroom teaching and also online teaching. His research areas are ultrasonics, polymers, crystal growth, and photovoltaic systems.
Welcome to UGC lecture series in BSc Honours in Physics. We have been listening to a series of lectures for the paper Oscillations and Waves. It is a subject found in the second semester of the course, and this is the fifth lecture in the series. In this lecture, we are going to see the concepts of simple pendulum. Before we start the lecture, let us see the session outline for today's lecture. In this session, we are going to see the concepts of simple pendulum. We are going to prove the oscillations of simple pendulum or SHM in nature to obtain the time period of oscillation of simple pendulum. In the previous lecture, we have taken a spring mass system for our discussion. We have got the expression for time period. Before we could obtain the time period, we have also proved the oscillation of a spring mass system is SHM in nature. For that, we have followed a set of rules. Even for the simple pendulum also, we will follow the same set of rules. Let us see what are the rules to be followed. The first rule is find the mean position of the oscillation, and the second one is take the arbitrary position other than the mean position. Third one is identify the restoring force. Fourth one is check whether the restoring force is proportional to negative of the displacement, and thus the acceleration is also proportional to negative of displacement. And the last step is identify what is omega in the expression, and once it is identified, we can directly write the time period of oscillation with the known expression. So, these are the general rules we need to follow as far as the oscillating systems are concerned, which we need to prove or executing in simple harmonic way. What is a simple pendulum? It is a very commonly seen object in many places in our day-to-day life. A mass that is attached to a string, when it is just moved to one side, it will just oscillate. We see lots of vegetables naturally hanging from trees, moving according to the force of the wind and executing the oscillation, and many more. These are just one example I have stated. Like that, many more things we see in our day-to-day life which are similar to the simple pendulum. So, technically, what is a simple pendulum? Let us read out what a simple pendulum means. Let us see the technical features of a simple pendulum. A simple pendulum consists of a massless and inelastic thread whose one end is fixed to a rigid support, and a small bob of mass m is suspended from the other end of the thread. Let L be the length of the pendulum. When the bob is slightly displaced and released, it oscillates about its equilibrium position. When a suspended mass is not allowed to oscillate, it is said to be in the equilibrium position. So, that itself will give us the mean position. So, the first rule of identifying the mean position is very simple. When the mass is at rest, when it is in the equilibrium condition, that position itself is the equilibrium position. So, identifying the equilibrium position becomes very simple. That is the case of static equilibrium. Once it is marked as a equilibrium position, now we need to take a position other than the equilibrium position in the course of oscillation. So, when we displace it by a small length, small displacement, it will start oscillating. And as far as a simple pendulum is concerned, what is changing when the oscillation is in progress? Actually, the string is moving to the left and to the right at an angle. So, the angle is changing as far as a simple pendulum is concerned. And when we take the bob moves to the left and right. We could take, it takes a small displacement x on either side of the equilibrium position. So, we can take this displacement x or the angular displacement of the string theta, any one as a varying quantity. We can have two different approaches as far as the case of simple pendulum is concerned. One is considering the theta, the other one is considering the displacement of the bob. Both the things are actually related. The two methods are not two different methods, they are one and the same, but the starting point of the approach only is different. Otherwise, the discussion will have the same kind of expressions in the two methods. Now, let us see what is the force that is related to a simple pendulum. The restoring force is to be identified. That is the next point in the rule. So, we need to identify what is the restoring force that is acting on the mass or the bob to bring it back to the mean position. Let us see how the forces are acting on the bob. And this is the simple pendulum which is suspended from a rigid support. This is a massless thread and the bob is displaced by a arc distance of x here. Actually, this x is a very small distance and thus the theta is also a very small angle. And in the displaced condition, when we look at the force, there is only the downward force acting on the bob, which is its weight due to the gravity. The weight is acting downward, which is denoted as mg. A is the equilibrium position and B is the displaced position, and L is the length of the string or length of the thread, and theta is the angular displacement of the thread, and x is the arc distance of the bob when it is displaced to the position B. So, these are some of the specifications, and we have identified one force that is acting downward, which is nothing but the weight of the bob. Is there any other force acting on the bob? When we draw a free body diagram of the bob, which is in the displaced condition, there is one more force acting, that is nothing but the tension that is acting on the string. So, the string is exerting a tension on the bob and the earth is pulling it down, which is called as the weight of the bob, which is acting vertically down. So, the tension along the string and the weight which is acting downward are the two forces acting on the bob. As the next step, still we need to identify the restoring force. Which force is responsible for bringing it back to the mean position? So, let us see the diagram once again and how the restoring force is identified. When we resolve this force, the weight which is acting vertically downward, into its two components, namely the mg cos theta and mg sin theta. Now, we can forget about this weight because it is resolved into the two vertical and horizontal, two perpendicular components. Now, we need to take these two forces mg sin theta and mg cos theta along with this tension for our discussion. Let us see how these three forces mg cos theta, mg sin theta and the tension act so that we could identify the restoring force responsible for bringing it back to the mean position. Let us see the concepts. Suppose the thread makes an angle theta with the vertical, the distance of the bob from the equilibrium position is AB. At B, the weight mg acts vertically downwards, which I have actually shown in the picture. This force is resolved into two components. The component mg cos theta is balanced by the tension in the thread acting along the length towards the fixed point O, and mg sin theta, which is unbalanced, acts perpendicular to the length of the thread. This force tends to restore the bob to the mean position. If the amplitude of oscillation is small, then the path of the bob could be taken as a straight line. So, let us see these points which we have discussed with the diagram for better understanding. We have resolved the two components, we have resolved this mg into two components, and this mg cos theta compensates the tension that is in the string. So, the unbalanced mg sin theta is the restoring force. So, we have identified the restoring force responsible for bringing the bob back to the equilibrium position, towards the equilibrium position, which is mg sin theta here. And if the angle theta is small, the arc distance x could be taken as a horizontal line itself as a best approximation. So, the angle is taken as very small, so that the bob's arc is considered as a flattened displacement, which is in the horizontal direction. So, with these points, let us derive the equations, so that we could go ahead to prove that this oscillation is SHM in nature. We have identified the restoring force, which is nothing but the mg sin theta. If theta is very small, as far as the mathematics is concerned, the angle sin theta term can be taken as the angle itself. Now, the restoring force is further simplified as mg theta. When the angle is small, sin theta could be approximated as theta itself. From the diagram, we can very well note this theta is nothing but the arc length x divided by the length of the thread. We will have a look at the diagram once again to see how this arc length, length of the string and the theta are related in the diagram. So, here the three terms are related. Theta is the angle, length of the string is L, and x is the arc length. So, this is actually the relation among the three quantities. X, L and theta are related like that. Theta is equal to x divided by L, which is the general rule for any segment. So, this segment rule is used here for this derivation. So, we can replace theta with x divided by L. Let us have the discussion further on the slide. So, now we can replace this theta with the expression x divided by L. So, the restoring force is found to be mg multiplied with x divided by L. What will happen when this restoring force acts on the bob which has the mass m? The mass will accelerate towards the mean position. So, we can have this force equal to the mass multiplied with acceleration of the bob. So, let us go ahead with the derivation and see how the equations are obtained to prove this oscillation is SHM in nature. We will continue this after a short break. Welcome back. We have actually got the expression for the restoring force, and because of the restoring force, the mass will have an acceleration. So, we can replace the force with the familiar term m and a, m multiplied with a. So, when we do that, what do we get? Let us have a look at the expression once again. This restoring force causes an acceleration a on the mass m. So, we can replace that force with the term ma, and here the two masses are one and the same. So, we can cancel them. So, acceleration is found to be g divided by L multiplied with x, And at this stage, which we have not done in the earlier equations, now we can do that. We can introduce a negative sign as the acceleration a and the displacement x are opposite to each other in direction. Because this x and a are opposite in nature, we can introduce this negative sign. Normally, in other equations, we introduce this minus sign in the beginning stage itself, but right now let us not, because we have not done that in the earlier stage. At this point, when the a and x appear in the equation, we can put a negative sign stating the acceleration and displacement are opposite to each other. So, we have proved the restoring force is proportional to the displacement, and also the acceleration is proportional to the negative of displacement, and we can conclude very well that the oscillation is SHM in nature. Let us see what is the omega in the expression. This equation resembles the equation of SHM, which this is the very famous equation of SHM. Acceleration is proportional to displacement, and what constant we have here should be the omega square. So, we can identify the omega square here as g divided by L. So, we can write omega is square root of g divided by L. Once omega is identified, we can directly write the expression for time period as t is 2 pi 1 divided by omega. That is done here. So, we have got the expression for time period as t is equal to 2 pi square root of L divided by g. So, this is the very famous equation for the time period of simple pendulum. In the lower classes, we normally take this equation to find out the acceleration due to gravity. T is equal to square root of L divided by g is the equation very often considered for doing experiments. This equation is taken without any proof to do the experiment to find out the acceleration due to gravity. In the school experiments, this equation has been handled several times to find out the acceleration due to gravity. So, that equation is derived now from the concepts of the oscillations. So, two stages have been very well done here. One is proving the oscillation is SHM. The second thing is getting an expression for time period of oscillation. To have a discussion on the time period expression, let us have a look at the expression once again and discuss about the final equation elaborately. The time period expression obtained is t is equal to 2 pi square root of L by g. This equation can be very well discussed in the following manner. From the equation for the time period, we infer that the time period varies directly as the square root of the length of the pendulum, and it varies inversely as the square root of the acceleration due to gravity. The time period is independent of the mass and the material of the bob. The time period is independent of the amplitude, provided the amplitude is small. So, these are stated as the equations of simple pendulum. It very well depends on the acceleration due to gravity. When we have a comparison of this equation with the spring mass system, we have the acceleration due to gravity term existing in this equation. So, the simple pendulum, the time period of oscillation of simple pendulum depends on the acceleration due to gravity. So, it is not a universal constant, it is not going to be the same everywhere. The time period of a simple pendulum depends on where we take it. Because the g is not constant everywhere on the earth itself, the time period of oscillation will vary according to the variation in g. And when we take this simple pendulum to moon, the time period will change. Because the g value is very less on the surface of moon, the time period will increase. The oscillation will become very slow because g value is very less in the case of moon. There, the acceleration due to gravity on the surface of moon is approximately 1/6 of the value found on the surface of earth. So, the time period will very well increase. The oscillation will become very slow. There are some special pendulums which we could take for our discussion. One such pendulum is a pendulum of 1 meter length. The time period is equal to 2 pi square root of L divided by G. The L value, if it is taken as 1, what value we get? That pendulum is called seconds pendulum. So, let us discuss about this seconds pendulum. If the length of the pendulum is 1 meter, then here in this place we have to substitute 1, and the square root of G, when we take, it is approximately equal to the value of pi, because G is exactly 9.8. When we substitute that value, square root of 9.8 is approximately the value of pi, which is 3.14. So, we will get 2 seconds as the time period of a seconds pendulum. Then the time period is 2 seconds. It means that each swing takes 1 second. We know the time period is the time taken for one oscillation. One oscillation means from the extreme position, when we take, the oscillation has to go to the other extreme position and come back. That is one time period. Or from the mean position, when we take, it has to go to one extreme, cross the mean, go to the other extreme and come back. That is taken as one time period. The time taken, that is taken as one oscillation. The time taken for this kind of oscillation is called the time period of oscillation. In the case of seconds pendulum, for one swing from one extreme, it goes to the other extreme, it takes 1 second. To come back, it takes 1 second. So, that is why it is called a seconds pendulum. Let us see a designed seconds pendulum, an animation, and see what sort of oscillation it is. And this is the animation exactly depicting a seconds pendulum. From one end to the other end, it exactly takes 1 second. Here we have a counter also to have the reference. From one end it starts with 0, goes to the other end, it is 1 second, to the same position another 1 second it takes. So, this is how a seconds pendulum oscillate. Even when we use our stopwatch and when we take the readings, it will exactly match with the 2 second time period. Now, the simple pendulum has got a legacy. So, let us discuss about the legacy of simple pendulum. What is meant by the legacy? So, here you have a look at the simple pendulum. It is oscillating and it has got a big history behind it. So, let us just have the tidbits of the history behind the simple pendulum. The credit of identifying technically the oscillation of a pendulum goes to none other than Galileo of Galilee, the great scientist of the 16th century. In 1642, he was observing the chandeliers in a palace oscillating according to the force of the wind that is flowing in the place. So, think about the mid of 16th century, no electricity and no concepts about the force. Even after Newton, that is the late 16th century only, Newton was able to come out with the concepts of force, but before that the philosophical concepts were in existence. And think about the availability of watches. There was no time measuring device available at that time. So, with all those kinds of handicaps, this scientist Galileo of Galilee observed a chandelier moving according to the direction of wind, and he took interest in the oscillation because he had lots of such chandeliers suspended from the ceiling of the palace, each one oscillating according to the length and the direction of wind blowing on it. And he was able to measure the time period of oscillation of those huge lamps with the heartbeat taken as the clock. He took the pulse rate or his heartbeat as the reference, and he was able to measure the time period of oscillation of these huge chandeliers. So, just by the observation, he was able to come to a conclusion that the time period is independent of the amplitude of oscillation, because the oscillation would have occurred with small amplitudes only, or some other occasions due to the forceful wind the amplitudes would have become larger. So, whatever be the case, he was able to come to a conclusion just by observation that the time period is independent of amplitude. Not only that, the time period was proportional to the square root of length of the lamp, length of the chandelier, or length of the pendulum. He later on designed his own simple pendulum at home, and he measured the time period accurately with some devices available at the time, and he was able to publish his observations in scientific papers. So, that has become a reference for many other people who were doing experiments on gravitation and acceleration and force, to take this as a scientific reference. And now, in this lecture, with the sophistication, with the concept of trigonometry and with the concept of vector analysis to resolve the force into two components and take theta, with all these scientific advancements and mathematical advancements, we were able to derive the expression for time period of oscillation of simple pendulum, which was done without all these sophistication in the earlier days. Just by mere observation, Galileo of Galilee has done a great job in the mid 16th century. So, the credit goes to him as far as the simple pendulum is concerned. So, such heroes we have in science who have contributed a lot in due time, so that the science could take its shape of what is it now. And with this, I would like to conclude the concept of simple pendulum which we have seen today. Let us see the session summary of today's lecture. In this session, we have seen the concepts related to simple pendulum. Let us test our understanding by answering these questions. Prove the oscillations of simple pendulum or SHM in nature. Obtain and discuss the expression for time period of oscillation of simple pendulum. What is a seconds pendulum and what is its time period of oscillation? We shall see the other systems of oscillation in the forthcoming lectures. With this, I conclude today's lecture. Thank you.